Hello everybody and welcome back. So we're going to continue off and we finished off here. So we have a lerp, and this lerp we have this depth mask. And this depth mask is doing this effect here. So this is, whoops, where did it go? So here we can control the depth mask. Super awesome. So now we're going to make the texture that goes along, so we kind of see some kind of flow. And we're not going to use a render texture. We're actually going to make our own. So I'm going to use Vorone for this one. And first off, we're just going to plug this one in the base color. And later we're going to combine it. But for now, this is fine. And we want this to be animated, and the way to do this, we're just going to animate it in the eye direction. So it's going to be the green parts going up like this. So to do that, we have a vector here. So now we can control, this is only the eye direction. So this is the one that we're going to control. And we're going to use a time to do that. So we're going to have it like this. So now you see it's working, but we're actually going to negate that one because we want it the other way. So we're going to do it like this. So if we save this part now and see how this one looks. Now you see we have this pattern going on here, and this is the first step to make our wavy texture. So we also want a float here to control the water speed. And we're gonna do that one in a slider. We're gonna have it between 1 and 4. And we're gonna start with 0.4 as a default speed. So in order to make that happen, we're just gonna multiply this one with the speed. Like this. So now we have the time multiplied with water speed, and now it's going with the speed we want. Perfect. So now we're going to take care of the patterns here, so we make it look a little bit more nice. So if we use a time node again, whoops. So now if we put time into angle offset, now you can see they're actually moving around a bit. So this is nice because then we can, in the next step, have a power node. And if we kind of increase this, so if we do 4, let's start with 4 and see how that looks. It looks a little bit like caustic. So now you see here we have it. We're starting to get it, and I would like to have even more. So this is your preference, how much you want it. And I think the cell density, I want a little bit more. So if I do save now, yeah, I'm gonna go for this. This is good enough. And what we do now we just combine these two here. So if we just do a maximum, so we don't do add or multiply, we just do maximum, because if it's two values like 1 and 1, maximum gives the 1 max. So if we did add, it would be 2 instead, and we don't want that. So now if we do like this and save that, now we have them combined, super nice. We have them separated like this. So it works really good. Perfect. And you can, of course, if you want the water, I actually think I want this one to be 16 instead. So now we see a little bit more, less like this. Yeah, this is fine. It's going to be fine. You can tweak this, of course, to make it a little bit more the way you want it, but this is how I do it. looks pretty okay, I think. So this is the part that takes care of the textures. And I also want to add so the water goes up and down. And that just make everything looks a little bit more alive. And it's pretty interesting because the way you do it in the Vertex shader and not in the fragment shader. So this is actually two separate parts. You can't drag nodes into this one here because they are two different calculations. So even though you need the same thing, you just need to duplicate it. And we actually need this part here. And so we couldn't use this one in our setup up here. We just need to copy paste this. So this is just the tiling and offset because we want the same thing. And I do believe that Voroni might be a little bit more expensive to calculate. So we could use that one up here. But I'm actually going to use just a simple noise because I do believe that it is a little bit more efficient, taking less calculations. And we're only going to offset the vertex. So it's not super important to have it super accurate where the waves are. So if we do, so what we made here, we made a moving mask like this one down here. And now we want to offset this position. And the way we do this, we just take the position and we take we can take the world position and we just, if you plug it in like this doesn't give anything difference at all. So what we have here, well, of course it does. So the position is relative to the object. So what we want to do is the object's position is going to be the same result. So if you do the object, now it's the same position. But now we want to add. So now we're going to add an offset to this. And what we want to do, we want to add it in a vector 3. And we only want to do this part here. So this is the only part that we want to offset the eye because we want to go up and down. We could use the normal if we want a waterfall and stuff, but we're just going to make it simpler here. So if you look at this one now, you see it's going up and down like a crazy water. So this is good. But I want the edges to be solid and not movable. And if you remember, I showed you in the previous one, this is the mesh that I made. And the mesh here is UV mapped in the way. So if we look in the UV map, that it's normalized from 0 to 1. So it's never more wide than 1. So we know the width is from 0 to 1. So in here, now we can make a mask to keep the borders not moving. And the way we do this, if we just make an UV like this, and we do a swizzle or split, you can use whatever. So we want X. So now we have the X, it's 0 to 1. And that's exactly 0 to 1 here in the UV mapping. And what's really good here, if we do a multiply, and we multiply with a pi, now we have from 0 to 3.14. And why this is good is because if we put this into a sine, now it goes from 0 to 1 to 0. And if you would use the cosinus, it would go from 1 to 0 to -1. So that's why I use the sine, because it starts at 0 and do 1 and 0. And if we had multiplied this with 2, it would go from 0, 1, 0, -1, 0. But this is enough. This is what we need. And we're going to make use this as a mask. And I'm just going to make a remap here. So we want to remap 0 to 1 value. So 0 to 1. And I want it to be not as strong. And actually I want it to start a little bit longer in. And now just make sure we saturate this. So this is a mask. So now it's kind of going up and down on the edges a lot. But if we just do multiply, so this represents the edges that it's going up and down on the edges. But if we use this mask to multiply, now you see it's keeping still on the edges. So if we use this one instead, now you will see the edges is keeping almost still. So let's address this. Let's see. Why is this? Okay, yeah. So you see this orange line here is because the water shader is going all the way out here. So it is indeed still and not moving on the edges, but we just need to clamp it in a little bit more. So I'm going to do it here. And we're going to drag this one in a little bit longer and save it. Now you see it doesn't move here. Of course, it doesn't mean it can't move anything in there. It's a matter of preference, of course. So yeah. So what's happening now? If you look on the water surface here, it's actually going up and down. So it's like a hill. And I want to change it so it goes up and down. So I want the water to not only go up, but a little bit down as well. And I'm not going to do it in the mask because the mask is the mask and we're done with that one. So that's going to be up here. But the thing is here, this is the offset value. And the offset value is between 0 and 1 and only between 0 and 1. So what I want to do, actually this one can be 1. So if we do save here, so the mask is from 0 to 1. So this is like a lot, you know. So what we want to do now, we want to control this. And if we do a remap, so this value is between 0 and 1. And now we want it to be negative. So we're just going to use the last. This is going to be water or wave amplifier. So this one going to be between the slider, let's say 0 and 1. So you can start with 0.2. And here, if we make a vector 2 here, now we can control this, the amp from between 0 and whatever we put in here. But we also want it to go negative. So if we just do this one, negate. Now we can do it. So now it will go negative value and positive value. So if we save now you see it's going down too. So now we have it going down too. And this is actually, this is what I made. So this is everything. So it works. And yeah. And here you can add a variable to the speed here to the offset. So this part is doing the mask. So we can do like this. This is the mask part. And here we have the texture. So that's going to be texture. This one here. And then we just combine it with a maximum and a lure. And then up here we have the offset of the vertex. So we have this one here is the mask. So that's the one we have to do the mask. And this is the kind of noise to waves. So here we have the noise for the waves. And here we just multiplied it and just add it in the I direction and just add it to the position for in the object world. So this is it. And I really hope you liked it. So it's a little bit fast now, maybe, or maybe this is exactly what you want. And we have some UI bug, but otherwise than that, I think it works pretty good. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked it, and good luck with your projects.